13 WMAZ News at 5 starts now.
What I love about my mom was the fact that she was our first teacher, and all the mistakes that I've made in my life, and thank God we're not going to talk about that, right, Bruce? They're my own doing, because I had a mom and a dad who taught us right from wrong in all sorts of ways, just pounded it into us from the earliest age. I'm so blessed to be her son.
One day after former First Lady Barbara Bush passed away, her son Jeb, the former governor of Florida, looked back on what she meant to his life. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Frank Malloy.
And I'm Lori Johnson. We'll have more on the passing of Mrs. Bush in just a moment. This just into the 13 WMAZ newsroom. The GBI's investigation at Fort Valley State University involves allegations of, quote, sexual misconduct against an employee connected to the school's Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority chapter. That's according to a statement from the sorority.
Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated released a statement to our station in Atlanta that said, in part, quote, we were appalled to learn of allegations of sexual misconduct against a Fort Valley State University employee who also is a graduate member of the sorority.
The sorority says they are fully cooperating with authorities and has a zero-tolerance policy for hazing, sexual misconduct, and harassment. Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority and the GBI have not commented further on the allegations.
On Monday, we reported the GBI was looking into alleged misconduct at the university and that they were interviewing between 20 and 30 people. The university has declined comment except to say one employee is on administrative leave while the investigation continues. And we have new information in the case of Aubrey Carroll, the Jones County teenager who had been missing since 2016.
A release from the Spalding County Sheriff's Office said Carroll was living under an alias and had been traveling with a group of people in the Midwest and on the West Coast. They said since Carroll is now 17, they could not make him come home, but they did convince him to make contact with his mother and to meet with police. According to the release, Carroll was safe and healthy, and he and his mom want to send the message to not to give up hope if your loved one is missing, because miracles can happen. Former First Lady Barbara Bush is being remembered for her devotion to family and country.
Both the wife and mother of former presidents, Mrs. Bush, died at her home in Houston last night. Weijia Zhang is there.
Flags are at half-staff from the White House to the Capitol, where senators on both sides of the aisle paid tribute to Barbara Bush.
She always combined wit with warmth, smarts with common sense, and great toughness with greater compassion.
Mrs. Bush was the personification of grace and class as First Lady and as a human being.
The 92-year-old Mrs. Bush died last night in Houston. Her husband, former President George H.W. Bush, was at her side, holding her hand all day. In a statement, he said, the outpouring of love and friendship being directed at the enforcer is lifting us all up. Their son, George W. Bush, said he was lucky to have her for a mother. And the younger Jeb Bush spoke about the loss at a leadership forum in Chicago.
I'm so blessed to be her son. She taught us to serve others. She taught us to be civil. She taught us to love your family with your heart and soul.
Mrs. Bush dedicated her life to public service, focusing on literacy. This plaza at the Houston Public Library is named in her honor, and now the site of a growing memorial.
People should know that she was a champion for literacy, that she was a champion for our children, and she was a champion for our families.
Mrs. Bush's funeral is scheduled for Saturday at the family's church. Bill and Hillary Clinton plan to attend, as well as Barack and Michelle Obama. Current First Lady Melania Trump has said she will be there too to pay her respects.
There will also be a visitation on Friday for Mrs. Bush.
It'll take place at the family's church in Houston from noon until midnight.
One Central Georgia man has a special connection to Barbara Bush and the Bush family. Clay Murphy was in the Army at the time and ensured that the then Vice President Bush was able to communicate by telephone.
For 3 years, Murphy traveled the world setting up secure lines for the Vice President to handle his duties over. Wherever Bush went, Murphy went too, from official business to family time at their beach house in Kennebunkport. One of his favorite memories involved the former First Lady when they were wiring a boat for the Secret Service to use.
This little lady comes out. She can barely see over the side of the boat, asking us what we're doing because the boat was still on a trailer. And she said, "What are we doing?" And we told her what we're doing. And she said, "Where'd the boat come from?" And we said, "The DEA." And her comment, just flat as she could be, "Well, George isn't going to like that. I'm going to have to go talk to him." He wasn't happy because the Secret Service boat was bigger than theirs.
Now, Murphy says when at Kennebunkport, Maine, the Bushes would cook for the entire staff on Wednesdays.
All right, the Bibb County Industrial Authority says they have made changes to the spending process in order to prevent the misuse of their money.
This comes after an audit revealed the authority spent $2 million on projects that never happened. Mary Grace Shaw has more on these changes, and she joins us now live in studio. Mary Grace.
Frank and Lori, that $2 million of improper billing all came from companies owned by people connected to former chairman Clifford Whidbey. Whidbey resigned last August after being indicted on federal fraud and bribery charges connected to the Bibb County School District. The Industrial Authority's chairman, Robert Fountain, says after everything happened with Whidbey, they decided to have a forensic audit done, which discovered this erroneous billing. The authority's director, Stephen Adams, said they put into place a system that prevents them from making duplicate checks, but he says they've also required that several people look at checks before they get approved.
Invoices are coming in and are dated by our administrative assistant who is collecting our mail. Invoices are then approved by the relative party who has been overseeing that work, whether it be the project manager or our engineer or even our legal counsel or myself.
From there, he says the check will go to the board chair and acting director. Frank and Lori, back to you.
Mary Grace, thanks very much. Adams also said the contractors involved in the situation have until the end of the month to respond to the county so that they can work on getting reimbursed.
The Lawrence County School Board approved a policy allowing trained staff members to carry guns in school. In today's 13 WMAZ poll, we want to know, are you comfortable with school employees being armed? You can tell us yes, no, or if they are trained properly. Go to 13WMAZ.com/vote or open the 13WMAZ app. Wanya Reese spent the day talking to parents and the school board. He joins us now live with more details on the policy and how folks feel about it.
Lori, parents that I spoke to today, they have mixed reactions about trained employees being armed with guns at Lawrence County schools. Now, I did get a chance to speak with the school superintendent, Dan Brigman, and he told me that safety is their #1 priority, and they want to make sure that students and staff are feeling safe at all times. Now, according to Brigman, this did pass unanimously last Thursday. It was approved by all of the board members, and they're trying to get this program started as soon as possible. According to the policy, trained employees will have to undergo a background check, psychiatric evaluation, and get training on how to use the gun. Brigman would not tell us where the guns would be kept in the school, nor what kind of gun would be carried. He said the element of surprise will be key with this new policy to keep intruders on their toes. I spoke to a couple of parents today, and this is what they had to say.
I don't know, my mom's a teacher in Lawrence County as well as my husband, and I guess I could see the good in it. I do believe that all the bad things that happen everywhere else could happen here.
The metal detectors, or it's just got to be I just think it's a better way other than arming the teachers. Like I said, that's just my opinions. I have grandkids and even other kids. I'm just concerned about kids in general.
Now, Brigman told me that they are working very closely with the Lawrence County Sheriff's Office to make sure that this program is started safely. In Lawrence County, Wanya Reese, 13 WMAZ.
Thank you, Wanya. According to the policy, Lawrence County says it will make sure all guns carried on campus are in accordance with state law. And we'll have the results of the 13 WMAZ poll coming up at 6.
What a day, man. It's awesome out there. Whenever you get in the 80s and you got that little breeze out of the southwest, you kind of want to duplicate that. Well, a little change with the front, and then we'll show you what's going on with the Sunday rain chance on the way. Now, you may not think this is true with the rain we've seen lately, but we're actually at an elevated level of fire danger. Joining us live at the Piedmont Natural Wildlife Refuge is our man, Hunter Williams. Hunter.
Well, Ben, as you mentioned, it's a very breezy, very warm afternoon, and a lot of people, you might not think about this, but when you have high winds, you have low levels of moisture in the atmosphere, low humidity, we do have a fire danger. I'm here at the Georgia Forestry Commission office in Jones County, and this sign, I think, tells the tale. Fire danger today in the moderate category. And you may be thinking, I know we just had rain a few days ago, but when you have these breezy conditions and the low humidity like this, you need to be on the lookout. In fact, we have a map that shows you the dew points all across central Georgia, and you can see that pretty much they are all in the 40s. And keep in mind, we have our temperatures well up into the 80s, so that's fairly low low levels of relative humidity, and you get conditions like that in tandem with the very breezy conditions we have right now, especially this wind out of the southwest, 10 to 20 miles per hour, gusting above that. So fire danger is something that we keep in mind through the rest of the day today. We'll be talking more about that coming up at 6 o'clock. For now, Ben, back to you.
Yeah, especially there in Eastman with the rogue dew point of 19 degrees right there. Kind of odd. All right, so yeah, dry weather, guys, but as we know, because it's Sunday, that will change with a rain chance coming up. We'll show you the latest timing. That's on the way.
Always on Sunday. All right, thanks, Ben. We'll talk again in a few minutes.
Okay.
Coming up next on 13 WMAZ News at 5, one of Georgia's best teacher, of course, comes from right here in Central Georgia. Why students think Ike Thompson should bring home the award. Next.
Welcome back. Out of 150 nominees, 10 finalists for Georgia Teacher of the Year. And a House and County teacher made the cut.
Nicole Butler spoke with Veterans High School's Ike Thompson and his students about why he deserves to bring the esteemed title back here to Central Georgia.
Talking with his class, Ike Thompson has a very interactive way of teaching English Lit. Remembering back to when he was in school and discovering that this was his calling.
In my adolescent experience, I had a couple teachers who stood by me and motivated me and, you know, just praised aspects of my life that I wasn't necessarily getting anywhere else.
Now Thompson wants to inspire his kids as well, trying to make his class a space to learn in while having fun.
When you challenge them and they show up to the challenge, and yet at the end of the day, they walk away with a smile on their face and a happy goodbye to you on your way out the door, you know that, hey, you're doing something here with them.
He's just always exciting and always dynamic in class, and you know, we do get to move around, we do get to, you know, talk with other people about our ideas.
This is what he calls the press and release method. Thompson challenges the kids to come up with a thought, and then he allows them to develop that idea further through the help of other students.
He's just a teacher that you know really cares. Like, a lot of teachers, they'll just hand you a book or they'll make you watch a movie or something, but he actually cares about us analyzing it and understanding it.
Never thinking his passion would ever lead him to being a finalist as Georgia's Teacher of the Year.
I said, man, I'm going to try to go do what's best for kids today. And I mean, there can be no better honor that someone can receive in their career than somebody saying, attaboy, you're doing it at a very high level.
Win or lose, he says his goal will always stay the same.
So it just drives me every day coming to work that, man, we're making this thing that we do better, right? We're better in education, and by better in education, we're better in the world that we live in.
In Kathleen Nicole Butler, 13 WMAZ News.
Impressive. The winner will be announced on May 19th and will be entered into the National Teacher of the Year competition. Fingers crossed for Mr. Thompson.
Yeah, he certainly gets our vote.
Absolutely.
Ben's vote, too. It's very impressive stuff there.
Yeah, man, I'm loving that. Hey, take a picture of this, will you? 86 in Macon and Warner Robins. Woo, nice stuff, but it is temporary. Shows that it was 87 for the high today. How about that? 3 away from a record high after 2 away from a record low yesterday. 7 days next. What a day. Tell you what, 86, 87 degrees. Some places just almost at 90. So a wild ride today, but as you know, springtime, this one, of course, included, can be a wild ride where we have one extreme to the other. Yesterday, we were at 36 degrees in the morning, 51 degrees later, and a little over 24 hours later, we found ourselves at 87. Today, we're at 86 now. Here's a look at, well, a night that has a few clouds rolling through, maybe a sprinkle or two, as a cold front comes through overnight into tomorrow morning. Now, when I say cold front, I'm not looking at 30s or anything coming back, but it may drop these numbers, well, it will, into the lower 70s. North you go, you're going to be in the 60s, and we'll have 70s as we go farther toward the south. So here's a look at the old 7-day, and it shows we're back to a 70-something deal, maybe only in the 60s on Friday. That rain chance looking like later in the evening on Sunday, guys.
Mixed bag there.
There you go.
All right, next on 13 WMAZ News at 5.
Have you recently changed jobs and wondering what to do with your 401k? Financial expert Sherry Goss has your answer next.
All right, as of midnight tonight, tax season will be over. But the questions about finances, well, they're always with us. Are you changing jobs, wondering what to do with your 401k? Sherry Goss with the Rosenberg Financial Group here to explain some options. All right, they're getting ready to go change jobs. What do you do with the 401k, Sherry?
All righty. So this question came from a caller last week, and in their case, they were leaving a job that had a 401k and going to a job that did not. So here are the options. Number one, you can leave the money in the 401k. Most employers allow this, so if you like the plan, you can stay in the plan. Number two, if the new employer has a plan, you can usually roll this money into the new plan, so you only have one account to keep up with. Three is if the new employer doesn't have a plan, you could also roll the 401k money into an IRA, which also provides tax deferral. And four, of course, another option is to cash it out, but you'll owe taxes on the money plus possible IRS penalty, and I do not like that option. So it sounds like there's plenty of options.
Yeah, but I guess a lot of people don't realize you can keep it, though, where it currently is.
Yes, many employers allow that.
Okay, it's a good idea. If you want to chat further with Sherry about this or some other financial matters, feel free to give her a call, 478-752-1374. She'll be with us tonight until 6 o'clock. And next on 13 WMAZ News at 5, a bus full of bees? Not normally a good thing, but then again, maybe it is. We'll tell you how it's helping produce honey year-round when we come back.
A Forsyth man has taken a different approach to beekeeping that he says allows him to get honey all year long.
Tracy Buff says he doesn't know of anyone who has made a bee bust before. He says it's called migratory beekeeping, and it keeps the bees producing honey. He can actually help them survive longer. He takes his 2 buses and his 60 hives to 3 locations at different times of the year. He rotates the buses among the mountains in Blue Ridge, Georgia, Perry, and his home in Monroe County. Buff says he uses a tow truck to carry the buses around.
Unless people start taking care of bees right now, I don't think that wild bees are going to survive. So I think it's going to be entirely up to us to try to learn how to keep the bees healthy.
Mr. Buff says he is able to get 4 different types of honey from each location. I didn't know there were different types of honey. Learn something new every day. Another check on your forecast when 13 WMAZ News at 5 continues.
Well, after warm stuff today, a little cooler tomorrow and a northwest breeze, low 70s. Still the next rain chance Sunday evening.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget you can join us for News at 6.
Until then, the news continues now on 13WMAZ.com and MAZ Mobile.
Andy's up next, back in 28.